It means that we punched our ticket to go try to win a Super Bowl, and that's it. We got one game at a time, starting at 1 o'clock on Sunday. Love y'all, boys. Love you. Love you. I'll go to war with every single one of you, every game, all right? Here we go. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Win.
Yeah. Please tell me that I can't, that I won't, that I fail, that I'll never make it out, yeah. Please tell me all the bad, never good, fill my head full of every single doubt, yeah. Please say any negative thoughts, I pop off when I hear people say I cannot. I get off to the thought of proving everyone wrong, I won't stop to the top, so you better back off and get lost. I'ma stay loud, stay proud, never running out, never heading south. I'll be spreading out, call it word of mouth, can't put me down, I'll be getting loud. You can have me douse, not what I'm about, have your fucking cloud. It be raining now, I keep making sound, go another round, bitch I'm legend bound, can't stop me now. You don't wanna fuck with me, a slow burn like good is sweet. Just tell me that I can and I'll show you things that you couldn't believe. Just tell me that I can. 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 It's showtime.
Welcome to the Reese T Bills Mafia Tailgate Pregame Show. I am your host, Tommy, and next to me is my main man, Mr. King Aramis. What's going on, King?
Man, feeling good about this game today. Let's get to it, man.
Let's do it, man. I mean, look, not a lot to talk about. The Bills should handle their business today. They should handle their business today, but I'm hearing a lot of, and I get it. A lot of fans, this should be a 40-point win, something crazy. We could put 40 on them and win by 20-something points. Every time I say something like that, it doesn't happen. And it's not in our DNA, man. It's not in McDermott's DNA. Let me take that back. It's in our DNA. The players can do it, right? The team probably can do this. But it's not in the guy that's leading them out into the field, which is Sean McDermott. And look, at the end of the day, I'm with you guys. I understand a lot of people are like, who cares? Win's a win. And yes, in a way, yes, I'm with that. Win's a win. However, I would love for just once, Aramis, for the approach to be like, take the kill shot. Let's take the kill shot and let's just get this. Let's end it right now when we're up. And once again, I'm not begging for 40 points, but this whole thing that we do and we've been doing for years now under Sean McDermott is let's start out the game with what we had planned in our playbook and all that stuff, like what we've been practicing all week. Let's build a little lead, and then second half, let's slow down. Let's go conservative here. Let's not blow the lead here. Let's not do anything dumb. On defense as well, let's back, let's be a little bit more conservative here. Let's not give up the big play. Let's start having these long drives so we kind of just kill the clock. Let's play clock management. And I hate it. I hate it. You could do that against the Saints team. You could do that against a Bears team. You could do that against, even the Dolphins, right? You can go in halftime being 14-14 and and I never, and at one point did I ever think we were going to lose that game, because we should win that game regardless of how close it is. They're a bad team. But teams like the Lions, the Eagles, the Chiefs, the Ravens, you can't fuck around. You can't do that. You can't have that mentality. You can't have the coach not to lose mentality. And that's what I fear when it comes to McDermott. And that's what I think the disconnect is with some fans when I talk about, we should be blowing teams out like this, right? We should be going for kill shots all the time. Yep. And we just don't do it. It's not in our DNA. And I think it's a huge mistake. Talk to me, Aramis.
Yeah, I'm gonna wholeheartedly agree with supercalifragilistic over here saying no, I care, run up the score, put fear in other teams. I think the idea behind run up the score in general is it's the same as if you get locked up and you spend your first day in jail looking for the biggest guy you can to knock him out, right? You want to send the message, don't mess with me. And what I fear happening this season is the Bills getting to the playoffs, and most of these national talk show hosts and some of these local talk show hosts talking about all right, we're in the playoffs yet again, but who did we really beat to get there? Right? Because until we get to that Chiefs game, we beat up on a bunch of bad teams and the Ravens.
Right.
Right. We just barely got past the Ravens. We had to put the cape on Josh to do it. And we're tripping and falling into 30 points against the Jets and the Dolphins. But I mean, realistically, it doesn't look like a dominant team playing a bad team. It looks like a team that's just kind of, like you said, methodically taking its time. And I agree with you. I think Sean's approach is, and I said this yesterday. I think his approach has always been designed around his message, and his message is trust the process. You heard Josh say it. You heard a few players say it after the Ravens game. We just trusted the process. We just stayed patient, blah, 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 and it all worked out. That's it's an oversimplification of what really happened. Your head coach allowed your quarterback to play the way your quarterback loves to play, and look at what happened on the field. That you know what I'm saying? So
exactly.
To me, that's what it really comes down to, because this is a Saints team that's not going to go away easily, right? When you look at what happened last week against the Seahawks, it was mostly special teams issues with that team, and they are really bad on special teams. But defensively and offensively, they have pieces, and offensively, they have a level of speed that the Bills cannot match. So it's going to be a test today. I think it's going to be a pretty close game.
I don't think so. I don't think it'll be close. However, close is what? Close is us winning by 10. You know what I mean? 13.
Yeah.
That's not really close, but I get what you're saying. It's not going to be like a total
it's close
just belt to ass. We just took up to the shed and took care of business. Like, I get it. But at the end of the day, like, we should be up by at least 10 going in a half, at least, right? Like, a good team will be up by 10 on this team. No matter. I get the Saints have some weapons, but they still got Rattler, who I don't trust at all. I've seen this dude play. He was well recruited out of high school, but he flopped in college. He wasn't that good in college, and he had some rough outings so far in his career. So I just don't like him as a quarterback. I think the Bills can get after him, make him get a little rattled. I know it's funny, but yeah, get him rattled. And that's how I see us beating them. Get pressure on them, force them to make mistakes. I get they have speed, but if you get to the quarterback, you'll mess all that up. Especially him. He's just not seasoned enough, to make a play happen when under pressure. So I don't see him beating us through the air. The ground game, once again, I think what we'll do is we'll probably have the same approach like the Jets game. We'll slow them down early. We'll get ahead more than likely on offense. Our offense is good enough to put some points up here early. And then we'll force them to beat us through the air, which once again, we don't really tend to give up big plays. That's what we do. So I don't see them beating us like deep. I could see maybe one play where we kind of have a hiccup and they have a good shot like down the field, but then we usually correct that after. So I just don't see it being like a game where, oh my God, you never know. I mean, I get it any given Sunday, but I don't think it'll be a problem. However, you still shouldn't let teams kind of linger around, hang around. I hate that. I hate that McDermott does that. He does that a lot. And you know what? He's not the only one. There's coaches around the league that do it too. I was watching Thursday night football. It was Seattle and Arizona. And Seattle had an opportunity there. Now they scored a touchdown, was called back, but then they kind of they got a penalty, I think, right after. But they still kind of, then at that point, they're like, you know what, fuck it. Like, you could tell the coach was like, you know what, at this point, let's just go for a field goal. I go, let's just not take any shots here. Let's not go for the kill. And look what happened. Arizona wound up tying the game, right? Because they weren't aggressive there. Sometimes you have to have that mentality. And I felt like some coaches they fall into that trap, man, where it's like, ooh, right? Let's just slow down here a little bit. Like, it's just like, dude, you know what I mean? Sometimes you got to, I understand too, you got to know the flow of the game. That does, come into consideration. I get that. But dude, like, the only time you should be playing that style is, fourth quarter, you're up by a lot. You're taking your starters out and you're starting to just have these long drives where you just run. It's the only really time, in my opinion, that you should be going to that method of let's just have these long extended drives, everything's short. And I mean, the proof is there. I mean, if you look like even last, some of these games, all 3 games, we will gain a little lead and then we'll start playing small ball. Yep. Everything's short, everything bubble screens, wide receiver, running twice, first and second down, like just doing stuff that's really not what we do, right? Like,
but
why? Why? Because Sean McDermott wants that style of play, and it's frustrating.
That comes from it too.
Yeah, it's very frustrating, and it's once again, it's not. I get it, guys. I understand. We're 3-0. Blah blah blah. We scored 30 points. I get it because I get that a lot. Like a lot of people are like, "Bro, you stop your bitching. You're complaining." And I talked about it, all weekend. Let me get to some comments too. I feel bad. I'm ignoring everybody here. Let me get to everybody real quick before I go on my little rant here, like that I like to do. Sean Kula in the house. What's going on, Sean? Red, White, and Bills. Go check out his podcast as well. Beth always showing love and support. Scott Blakely, my dude. And we're going to get to the inactives in a minute. How you doing, Scott? Thank you so much for supporting us as always. Who else is in the building? Robert Wilson, my dude. Good day, Post Podium, and Tommy. And by the way, yes, Post Podium. Go check them boys out. They go live every Monday and Friday at 5:30, and they're also doing some more stuff on their channel as well. So you definitely don't want to miss out on Post Podium, man. They are on the come up, man. They're right on my tail, man. So unsubscribe from them, right? They're the worst channel in the world. Not just joking. I have to ask, who is everyone rooting for to win Baltimore KC? That's a great question. Why answer that now? Why not? Because I'll forget later. So honestly, and then obviously you answer after. I don't like either one. I wish both could somehow lose. A tie would be great, but it's not going to happen. I would honestly prefer KC to lose because I think Baltimore, even if they lose, their division's so bad that they'll figure it out. They'll wind up winning the division just by default almost. That's a bad division. KC, on the other hand, they lose. The Chargers are looking good, and that's going to be tough to rebound from, right? It really will. 1-3 start. I mean, the Chargers would have to have a collapse there. So I would much prefer that the Chiefs lose because I think the Chiefs would, that would really kind of put them on panic mode and a little bit as far as, okay, now we just got to go for a wild card at this point. So that's how I see it. Baltimore, like I said, I think even if they lose, they wind up winning the division. So, but what's your thoughts on that?
I'm gonna go with Baltimore here. I think Baltimore losing, they have a much easier stretch the second half of the season in terms of the teams they play. And the fact that their own division is missing an all-pro quarterback in Cincinnati there. So, there's another 2 wins for the Ravens there too. So I'm looking at what the Chiefs have down the stretch. They have one of the hardest schedules in the league. It's undeniable. They probably have maybe 3 games the rest of the season that should be winnable for that team. So if I'm looking at this from a number 1 seed perspective, I want the Ravens to take the hit now because I know they got to stretch an easy game. Whereas Chiefs are going to still struggle the entire rest of the way, throughout the season. Yeah. And it's less likely that they're going to catch up with that schedule. So right now, for me, everything is about that 1 seed. This is the only thing that Sean has left to try and use to get to a Super Bowl and prove everybody wrong. And I need to see what that looks like.
Okay, that makes sense. See, I didn't really dive deep into their schedule, and that does make sense. I kind of get what you're saying. And I will say this on the game. The Chiefs are still the Chiefs. I think that'll be a close game. It's at KC. I think KC is going to give them a dogfight. They're just not going to lay down for the Ravens, right? And I don't think the Ravens have been playing their best ball either. Like, they're giving up points. So, not that the Chiefs' offense has been electric, but it's still Andy Reid. It's still Patrick Mahomes. They still got Kelsey. They still got some weapons. So, and their defense is pretty good. So, I think it's going to be a back and forth game. So honestly, if I had to put money on it, I might say KC. I might say KC by like a field goal, like a last minute drive or something like that. But it's a toss up game. But like I said, now knowing their schedule, God, you might be right. Maybe I do want Baltimore to lose. So yeah, I don't know. Either one, either way, one of those teams are going to 1-3, and it's great. It's really, really good. So,
100%.
I'm happy with that. And check it out. This is the most interesting man in the chat, Mr. Fulton. He always has something going on, whether it be a birthday party or America's Got Talent or the Voice. He's everywhere. Special Olympics. This guy's great. Morning time. I did some 10 axe throwing yesterday at the New Earth Festival in Atlanta. Nice. Good job, man.
Holy
all right. Yeah.
What has this guy not done?
Yeah, I don't know. I have no idea. He's done everything. Morning, May West. I see Mitch. I say Mitch. Oh, Mitch Trubisky in the third. I don't. I see him in somewhere in the fourth. I think but we'll see. I don't know. I mean, Scott Blake, we fans demand 40 burgers. Dude, every time I remember Aramis, was it last year? He was like 4, and I'm like, he's like, come on, Tom. I'm like, all right, 40. And we winded up like doing terrible that game. And I'm like, never again will I do that. Never.
Yeah, it's my fault that you're conservative.
Totally his fault. Totally his fault, man. Boosting this team up like they're going to ever score 40. No, I'm just joking.
No, you're right. You're right.
That's the defensive mind head coach mindset. Yeah, but you know what? Like I said earlier, there is other coaches around the league that do get caught up in that mentality, and I hate it. There's a few that don't, and there's a few that throughout the history that I'm like, yeah, like Andy Reid, he doesn't do that. He goes for the kill shot. He if it's fourth down, even on his side of the field, and it's a minute and a half to go in the game, and they're only up 1, and if he gets a first, it's over. He's going for it. I mean, we've seen it. He trusts his players, and he trusts his play call. So we would never do that. Never in a million years. But I you know what? At the end of the day, too, if they don't get the first, I'm not even mad at my coach. I'm really not. I know you guys might say different, but I'm not, man. I like that mentality, man. So, but once again, I understand you kind of go with the game flow sometimes and how the game's going. I get that as well. That does come into play. Tie is worse because it's not a loss. Yeah, but still, tie. It'd be kind of funny, but I get what you're saying. It would be ties are rare. Ties are rare in the NFL. It doesn't happen a lot. Worthy is back. All right. Hate them equally. Yep. Tommy, what's going on? Jimmy Key, how you doing? What's up, boys? Alpha Rob's in the building. I think I'm gonna all caught up if KC wins. They're 2-2. They have all their guys coming back and go on a run. And if we lose to them, they have a legit shot at the 1 seed. Once again, they have a tough schedule. Aramis, I haven't pulled it up. I'm going to go with go ahead, pull that up. Listen, I think the Bills' schedule, and I hear this a lot, and I heard you talk about it a little bit. I don't think it's easy. I think the NFL definitely helped us by giving the toughest games that we have at home, right? But those aren't like pushovers, right? Like, I don't think KC's ever is a pushover as long as they have Andy Reid and Mahomes and all those, their defensive coordinator in play. Philly's never going to be a pushover. They're Super Bowl champions. You got to respect them. Mm-hmm. Who else is on our schedule that I can see that is down the stretch? We got, let's see here. And then the second half is where it gets a little rough. So the Buccaneers aren't a gimme. I mean, and we're at Tampa. I don't think that's a game where we're just going to it's a pushover. Can we beat them? Should we beat them? Yes, but it's still in Tampa. Anything can happen.
It's here.
Oh, it is at home. Okay, it's at home, but still, anything can happen.
Yep.
Right? It's still the Buccaneers. They still have, a pretty good quarterback. They got some weapons. So even that. Now, I'll still say, obviously, being at home, and we still, even on the road, we should win that game. But that's fine. It's at home. Eagles at home. Yep. That's not a gimme, but week 17, we'll see where the Eagles are at that point, right? If the Eagles feel like they don't really need to compete, they already clinched or whatever's going on in the NFC, they may not go all out in that game. They may rest some starters. Who knows? So we'll see when that time comes. But yeah, and the Bengals would have been an interesting game. But Burrow will be probably out if I had to guess on that game. So. I mean, like I said, the toughest games we got left, because now that it was Bengals, but you scratch that now. You got the Eagles. I would say the Bucks and the Chiefs. You're right. I mean, it would have been 4, but yeah, it's favorable, 100%. So what do the Chiefs got?
So the Chiefs still have to play they play the Ravens today. They still have the Lions on their schedule. The Commanders are on their schedule. Commanders quarterback should be back next week. And these are just out of division games. They have to play the Colts. And then who else is left? So that's out of division. They still have 2 games against the Raiders. They have 2 games against the Broncos and 1 game left against the Chiefs. And their division has been brutal for them the last 2 seasons, I would say, especially last season. Last season was brutal for the Chiefs, but just barely getting through the games in their own division. The only 2 cake teams that I see left on their schedule, or 3 rather, is Jaguars, Titans, and Texans. And who knows if the Texans will have their offense figured out by December 7th, and that's a night game. You know what I'm saying? So
yeah.
So it goes today Ravens, then they have Jaguars, then they have the Lions, then they have the Raiders, then they go Commanders, Bills here, then they go Broncos, Colts, Cowboys. That's kind of a toss-up game. You never know.
Where is it at? Dallas or KC?
It's in Dallas.
Okay, so if they're healthy, right? Because Dallas, who knows? But you're right. That could be an interesting game. Yep. I don't think that'll be a blowout, or you can. That's a tough game. That's a tough game to call. But go ahead.
Yep. And then after the Cowboys game, they have Texans at home. Then they have Chargers at home. Then they go to Tennessee. Then they have the Broncos at home, and then they end the season in Vegas.
So Broncos usually play them tough.
Yep.
Right. You said Tennessee, that's an easy one.
Yep.
Tennessee is still in the rebuild. The Texans, I'm going to say they'll beat them because right now Texans are playing bad unless things change. And the Raiders, the last game, where's that at? LA?
In Vegas.
That's an interesting game. We'll see, because the Raiders are also a weird team. They sometimes can give certain teams a fight, depending on what they want to do that game. So interesting, very interesting. So yeah, they don't have an easy schedule. Here's the inactives real quick. Connerton is interesting. He's out today, so that is an interesting one. Unless something came up, that's weird. Ingram's out. Obviously, Matt Milano's out. Spencer Brown, that one, he's been kind of dealing with, I think it was a calf or something like that all week. So it's good that it's at least not his back. And I think this is more, hey, we probably don't need him as much here. Let's not force it. You know what I mean? I get that. There's nothing wrong with that. I'm cool with that. Ed Oliver obviously dealing with that high ankle, which it sucks, man, but it is what it is. It gives our rookies an opportunity to get some playing time and get their feet wet. Landon Jackson's a guy that I thought would honestly get an opportunity this game, guys, and he did not. It's a little disappointing, I got to be honest with you, but man, I mean, that kind of tells you where he's at right now in the coach's eyes. I mean, obviously we don't see what's going on in practice, right? I have no idea, right? All we can kind of go on is maybe McDermott just really feels like he's that behind. I don't understand. But if he is, then my God, you may not see him all game. You might not see him till week 18. When it's just kind of everybody, all the third strings in there, right? All the guys that aren't going to play in the playoffs. So he may just need more work, and he may just also wind up being just a bust of a pick. So, and that's okay. You're not going to get every pick right, but we'll see. I think it's way too early to knock a guy, any rookie. I'm not going to kill any rookie right now, especially guys that haven't been on the field yet due to injury or due to just there's a better guy ahead of you. But what I saw in preseason, disappointed. I felt like he has the tools. I just don't know if he's put it all together yet. And I think that's what they're working on. I think he's just very, very raw of a player. And maybe, listen, he's either going to get it or he's not. And we'll find out, and also to scheme. It could be just a bad place for him. I don't know. So we'll find out, but I'm a little disappointed that they wouldn't at least give him a run here, because they gave Solomon a run for a little bit right here in the beginning of the season. And he disappointed me. I got to be honest with you. I thought Solomon would at least take a step forward this year, and I haven't seen it from him. And I thought maybe he would be a good pass rusher. That's what he was in college, and he just hasn't really provided it yet. I haven't seen it. Callie coming in, why is Landon Jack still out? What the fuck is wrong with that guy? I don't know, and I'm not going to really sit here and be like, I know what's wrong with him. I just know sometimes, too, that McDermott also puts certain guys in what I like to call his doghouse. Who knows, man? And he does that. He did that he even does it with veterans. So it's not just rookies. He did it with Poona Ford. And there was nothing wrong with Poona Ford. Poona Ford winded up balling out the very next year on a different team. So I think sometimes McDermott just has it on some of these guys that, where he doesn't want to suit them up for whatever reason, man. Either he's not doing what they want in his scheme, right? He's not seeing it. I have no idea. Or the player's just not ready, which could be the case. I don't know. Scott Blakely, F. Milano, can't believe he's out again. Bro, listen, they did the right thing by doing his contract. Like, that's it. Like, Milano's done. Like I love the dude, great dude, when healthy, really good player. But he's never on he's just, we can't rely on him. Like, that's the pride. You have to listen, this is a tough sport. I get it. The NFL's brutal. Injuries are going to happen, but my God, like over and over every year. And then when it comes to a guy that you just like, you can't trust anymore, like staying healthy for a full season, and you need that guy, you got to move on. And I think that's ultimately what's going to happen. And let's just hope that Milano, because he'll get healthy at some point in the season, can at least get into the playoffs healthy, and then we'll see what happens. But I don't want him back strictly because I can't trust his health. I can't. And we need to move on. We need to figure out who's going to take his place. Could it be Dorian? Maybe, but Dorian needs to work on his pass coverage as well. I like Dorian. I think Dorian has some upside to him, but he also has some learning. He has some stuff he has to learn, has to get better at. He has to. Jessica, hey Tommy, how you doing, Jessica? Appreciate you being here. Kyle, need some Buffalo fans input. Oh, is this a Saints fan? Let's see here. Full PPR Shakir, Godwin. Oh, he's fantasy football. What do you think? You can answer that.
Full PPR. Shakir hasn't been getting a ton of targets per game.
He's not.
Honestly, Godwin definitely has to be one because he's coming back to a wide receiver core that's pretty desperate right now. Emeka Ibuka's their best receiver, so Godwin stepping in to some degree is going to help a lot. And then I think your third option was Romeo Doubs. Who are they? Who are the?
Yeah, you got to look at the matchups too.
Yeah.
By the way, while he's looking that up, I'll give you a score update because there is a game going on overseas. Pittsburgh is up on Minnesota 24-6. Minnesota, another team that's just a weird team. Sometimes they come to play, and sometimes they just do stuff like this. JJ, I don't think it's the answer either. I really don't, guys. I saw him in college over here. I live in Detroit. I get that he has a decent arm and all that, but I didn't like him in college. I just didn't see it. That's why they ran a lot. They didn't use him a lot on through the air. And also his health. Clearly, I mean, something's going on with him, right? Putting Wentz in there. I mean, Wentz. I don't know, but go ahead on that.
So I would take Doubs. Going against those corners in Dallas, they've been giving up a lot of yards in the past game. So I would go Doubs and Godwin.
There you go, Kyle. And he's a Dolphins fan. Fuck Tua, he says. Jessica, love it. Call Samuel. Who do you think will cover kickoffs and punts today? I'll tell you what, punts, they usually go with Shakir, but I don't know if they want to test it because of his ankle. We'll see on returns. It's usually Ty Johnson back there with Connerton. So it could be more. It could be more in Johnson on returns, and it could even be more on punt returns.
Yep.
Because I wouldn't risk Shakir back there. I just wouldn't, knowing that he's just now kind of getting back into his, groove as far as his ankle injury goes. I kind of feel like he's almost there. Jant Sports, my dude, Jarek Jackson doesn't have a pass rush plan and needs to learn how to not play too high. Exactly. At times in pass rush situation, he also allows blockers to get into his frame and stall his momentum. I agree with that too. But you know what's funny? A lot of our guys go high. I don't get that either. It's like even Von Miller when he was here sometimes went too high. But you're right. I mean, he, like I said, he has tools. He just needs to get it. He needs to put it all together, man. Kyle, love you guys. I appreciate you, bro. Samuel is going to return kicks. Okay, fine. Fuck it. But let's get him hurt again. I don't care. I mean, he's going to be hurt all the time anyways. Let's see what he could do. He'll have one return and limp off the field. You know what I mean? Like, I can almost see it right now. Like someone's going to hit him. He's like, oh, and then it'll be like, well, there we go. You know, there's the Curtis Samuel call up just to get him back on injury report. Ariel Aramis, perfect time, and this guy knows his shit. What does Aramis think about the temperature of the seat that the one and only McDermott sits on? We all know the answer to that, but go ahead. Fucking nice and cool and pat very well.
Big old fat ice cube right now.
Yeah, and pat it too, comfortable. It's like a fucking lazy boy with air conditioner coming out of it. He ain't fucking know. That dude ain't going nowhere. Now the fans, we got him on a blazing hot seat, but doesn't. We don't control. We can't do anything. We can't fire coaches. Right. I would love to see more doing returns. I would too. I think more would be an interesting one but Samuel has a 4.3 speed. Samuel's not slow, by the way. Like Samuel has very good speed. Mm-hmm. So either guy I'm cool with. But my thing with Samuel is like the dude can't stay healthy, so he's gonna get popped and he's gonna be done. Right. So like,
if you want to trade him, you can't let him get hurt.
Exactly. If this is a showcase game,
right?
Showcase him, but not in that. Not doing that. You know what I mean? But whatever. At this point, I care less. I don't know if anyone willing to trade him anyways. I would love to see more doing returns. Yeah, I saw that. Cook going to have 3 touchdowns with 145 on the ground. Our defense going to keep the game close as fuck. Bills 31, Saints 28. See, I don't think so. Prater with the game. If that happens, I'm going to be fucking furious, bro. By the way, it's my birthday too. They fucked me on my birthday, this Bills team. It's going to ruin my birthday. I'm going to be furious, Aramis. Thank you, brother. I appreciate it. Yeah. But yeah, dude, I will be super mad, man. So here, why is he going to get hurt on a return? Because he's Curtis Samuel. I don't know why. The guy can literally just get shoestring tackled and then pull up limp. I have no idea. That's Curtis Samuel. He got a fucking turf toe injury before he even stepped on the goddamn field. And he gets hurt all the time. Just like that would be like asking why Matt Milano tackled a tackling dummy and fucking was out for 6 months. I have no idea. Just because he's broken. I have no idea. Thank you. Thank you, Sean. Appreciate it. Ariel, how about the day 1, day 2 beam picks? Sure. Listen, it's way too early for this year's draft. I'm not gonna say anything, but there's some players that have worked out. Have they been superstars? No, but I do feel like some of them still, the verdict's still kind of out there. Like Osiris Torrance is a great example, right? Day 2 pick. I think I love that pick. I was high on that pick. I did a video on that pick, before we even drafted that guy. I think that guy has major upside. I don't think you've seen even the best yet of what Osiris Torrance can bring. The more he works for Cromer, the more season he gets as in this league. I think he's going to be one of those guys we're going to be like, damn, that was a great pick. So that guy there for sure. And I'll go on the record right now and say that's a great number for a 2nd round pick. That one will work out. Unless injury happens, knock on wood, that guy should be here for a while. Thank you, Chance. I appreciate that, Jarek. And we do got a super chat from my big dog, Callie, always coming through. Happy motherfucking birthday, Tommy, from all of Bill's Mafia. You know I got to play that for you, man. Yeah, I appreciate you, Callie, man. It means a lot, bro. It really does, man. Thank you so much. Torrance and Edwards had great PFF. By the way, Cecil, man, I'm not a PFF guy. I'm not a grade guy. I hate all that. I get sometimes I'm guilty of bringing up stats on this channel. And some of them do some of them are, you can use them as certain, when you do debates sometimes and kind of point out certain grades and all that. But a lot of the time, man, I'm old school. I do the eye test, bro. Real simple. And, when we do live reactions following games, sometimes I'm wrong. I'll go back, I'll watch all 22, and you kind of see the game a little bit different. See, things that maybe you thought were bad were actually not. Things that you thought maybe a player did really well and they didn't really do that well. And so I do the eyeball test. I don't go by this whole PFF things. I'm not a stat chaser. Sometimes stats don't tell the whole story. I always tell people that. That's why a lot of those like national media guys, they get it wrong because they don't really watch the game. They just kind of stat stuff. They look at the box score and go, oh man, he must have had a bad game. Well, why do you have a bad game? Did you watch the game? No. Okay. So you have no idea, right? You have no idea. So don't comment on it if you're just stat chasing or grades. PFF graded this guy the number 1 tight end for the week. Like, fucking guy I never heard. Like, stop, right? Like, don't do that, guys. Go by with what you see, and I'll respect that. Even if I feel that you're wrong, I have no problem. At least you told me you watched it, and hey, I did my fucking eyeball test, and I think this guy did this good, and I'll have to go with it. That's your opinion. I'm not going to blast your opinion. But if you're just going, bro, Josh Allen can't win the big game, right? It's like, what are you talking about? The guy was the highest rated quarterback in the playoff. What are you talking about? So that's what I'm talking about, guys. We got another super chat coming in. Hey, bro, I appreciate Rick Reed. Happy birthday, man. Love the show. And you're going to get that. You're going to get the trade. I appreciate you, bro. Sean, PFF workers do watch the game. I get I don't give. Then they're watching it wrong because a lot of times they're fucking.
No, okay. Hey, listen, so we talked about this.
I'm not saying they're totally wrong. I'm just saying like they're not always 100% like accurate either. Like I don't go by just grades. You know what I mean? I really don't. But go ahead. Talk to me. Because I know you go into that.
We brought this up before the Jets game, right? And I talked specifically about Membu, the right tackle for the Jets, and him having the highest grade of any right tackle in the NFL, including the Jordan Mailatas of the world, right? Mm-hmm. This guy was the highest rated dude on PFF. And if you go and you watch that game against the Steelers from week 1, he had 1 rep against TJ Watt by himself. 1. Every other one was a chip by the running back or a half a block by the tight end to give Membu time to get in position. And by the time TJ Watt got there, the ball was out anyway. So clear example, if you watch the tape, you will see PFF, even if they watch the games, the way that they set up their statistical ranking system, it's not based on what you actually see happen in the game.
Exactly. And Sean, you should know this. Like Sean, by the way, if you guys don't know, Sean, he does film study on the offensive line. He loves the offensive line. That's what he does. Respect it. And trust me, you will see stuff that if you go to PFF and you do your film study, Sean, you're going to see a lot of times they're inaccurate. They're wrong, or they've given a terrible grade to somebody you thought was, it's just the way it works. I'm not saying they're always wrong, but my point is, guys, don't always go on what anyone really says. Go on if you watch the game yourself, then I'll respect whatever your opinion is. I mean, that's all I can say, but don't just go on, well, if they said it has to be true. Like even for me, even when I sit here talking about Sean McDermott, I don't, hey, if you fucking think Sean McDermott's a great coach and more power to you, I don't, but I'll respect it. You know what I mean? You watch it just like I watch it, though you may watch it differently. I don't know. So I'm just saying, don't always go by that. If you're a true fan of the sport, watch it, learn from it. And if you do have all 22, go back and watch all 22. And then sometimes you'll see stuff that you might have missed during the regular game. You know what I mean? Because once again, I'm kind of guilty of that when I go back and watch. Thank you so much, Linda. Happy birthday. And I'm going ahead and hit you with that train horn. Appreciate you. Bills, I confirm Torrance and Edwards did very well. Thank you. Confirm that. How could you even grade a safety without all 22 or PFF? You want to answer that?
Yeah, you watch the tape. It's
right.
It's not a see. This is the thing. When you the trip you take to a statistical website should be something you do after the first stage, which is I need to see the player play. Right. For scouts initially, what they do is they'll pull up the initial information from high school, the 40 times and all that kind of stuff, and get a baseline for the player. Okay, this is what he's accomplished so far. Now let me go watch him to see where he's at now. And what they do, and this even happens in the NFL. You hear the Brandon Beane talk about it all the time, right? We're going to take a look at him, and then after that, we're going to go and take a look at what he would put on paper already, right? So the idea is to get a feel for how the player looks in person, and then when you get to the combine, then you see what's his actual 40 time, and then even then you've heard Brandon Beane say, okay, now we're going to go back and look at some more tape to see if the numbers he put in the combine match what we see on film, right?
Exactly.
So the idea, and now mind you, none of that has anything to do with how many touchdowns that player scored the previous season, right? All of that stuff is tertiary. It's third in line of the stuff that you're looking for. You're looking for what their measurables, and then you're looking for the film. Then from that point, you go and you look, oh, this guy put up this these kind of numbers in college. Okay, we need to watch him a little bit more. Right. The idea is you got to look at the guy. The grades in general are for fans. Let me just be perfectly honest. When it comes to the grades for these players that end up on PFF and all these other stat sites, that is for fans. When you talk to an NFL coach, when you talk to an NFL scout, when you talk to an NFL player, they don't go by that stuff. They go by the eyeball test. Then they go by the measurables. Then they go by the eyeball test again. And then they go by the statistics from the previous however long you were at the institution. That's how they
correct. And that's why also they got a ton of scouts that scout different players that go to games, watch these guys in person, then they break down the film. Listen, guys, even after each game, right? Why when why do you think they have film day, right? They all have to go back, even on a win. Right, even if it's an impressive win, they have to still go back, watch what they did wrong. There's going to be things that they did wrong or right, or or things they even coaches might have missed the player do, and go, damn, I really like that chip. You know what I mean? They're going to find stuff that they didn't see live, that they couldn't on the sideline. Some things they go unnoticeable, right? But listen, Cecil, I get it. You don't have the tape. However, there's a lot of Bills channels out there that do film breakdown. You could find, trust me, you could find stuff if you're curious about it. A certain player, more than likely,
It's $14.99 a month. Like
exactly,
spend a few dollars and get the all 22, and you got all the film you need. It comes out the day after the game.
Exactly. So NFL Plus, I think, what is it, $15, right? Something like that. So $15, and you can watch they give you different variations to watch all 22 review, which is the coaches, basically, which is different angles, and then you got the actual game itself, and you got it where it's broken down into different pieces. So you could do that. And like I said, if you don't have the money, not everybody has that to spend. There is channels, like I said, out there that do their own kind of film breakdown, where you can kind of go on there and just see what they're looking at. And once again, they may not be right, but at least you're seeing kind of what the play being broken down in their eyes. So that's all I can say. But like I said, if you don't have all that and you're just watching the coverage, then all I could tell you is, man, just kind of just pay really attention and just go by with what you saw, man. I mean, that I can't really tell you what to do after that, because if you don't have the money or the resources, and I get that. Well, that is the problem with PFF, Tommy. They grade each player off the tape, all 22, but they don't know the actual play call from the team. Well, it's not like that. Like I said, once again, though, they're the person doing it doesn't mean like they're seeing it how I'm seeing it. Mm-hmm. They can see it totally different. You get what I'm saying? Everybody's going to see the game different. I'm just saying, that's why I said, for everybody out there, kind of do your own, eyeball test. And once again, you got guys like Cover One that do breakdowns, and they're not always right. I don't always agree with them, right? And that's okay. I mean, that's how they see it, and I see it different. Me and Aramis, we disagree on a lot of stuff that I see different, and he sees different. And that's okay. It's just the way we see the game, or we see the player. So it's all right.
I got a question.
Yeah,
and this is not just for you; it's for everybody, right?
Yeah.
You have two teams, right? And team number one is a mid team, right? They're not a great team, you know. They're a 9-7, 8-8, you know, caliber team, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then you have a team that is the Bills caliber, the Ravens caliber, or the Eagles caliber, like top tier, you know, very high performing team, right? Now let's take those two teams and let's assume that both teams go 15-2. Right? In a season. They go 15-2. Now, team number two, the you know, high performing team, has played easy games all season long. Right? And team number one, that kind of mid team, has had the second hardest schedule in the entire NFL. Right?
Mm-hmm.
Do those 15-2s mean the same exact thing?
I would say no, because the opposition, you're facing the tougher opposition and winning those games. Now, I will say this. Where's two of those games against the better oppositions that they lost? You get what I'm saying? So I get where you're going with this, but it just depends on how do they lose to the two teams. Were those the tougher teams above 500 and they just got whooped, right? That take it to the shed. And then the rest of their wins were kind of against teams they should have beaten. Though 15 wins is a lot, no matter what, on a schedule. So I'd probably go with the team that had the harder schedule in general, because it's the opposition, right, that you play. I mean, you could say that for a boxer, right? You could put a boxer up with a third. I've seen it all the time. Guys come in the ring, they're 30-0, and they face guys that were total trash. And then I've seen a guy that's, you know, has, you know, it's 22-0, but he's faced top 10 opponents, three of them. You know what I mean? So who are you going to go with? The guy that's 30-0, it's fought guys that were not even in the top 10, or the guy that's a little less of a record that fought two guys in the top 10? So probably go with the guy like that.
Here's my point in asking that, right? Because the idea of statistics is, from a fan standpoint, is, well, the numbers are telling us what happened, right? The numbers are giving us the information of you know, the aftermath, I guess, of what actually took place in the game. Right? This is how we know what happened. And to a degree, yes, but the numbers don't give you everything. And that's why I made that point. You could have a team that's considered mid and gone 15-2 and played a harder schedule. And you can see, if you watched that team play every single game, and you watched all the games that they played all the way throughout, you would see how hard it was for them to get to that 15-2. And you would understand they've gone through more and accomplished more than the high-performing team that played easy teams all season long and went 15-2. So you would have more respect for the team that accomplished more, worked harder, and went through the gauntlet to reach the same goal as the other team. And the reality of it is, the 15-2 doesn't even matter. Right? That's the crazy part about this. And that's kind of why I'm bringing this up the way that I am, is to say the comparison, you would obviously choose the team that went through more and worked harder. But even at the end of the day, the 15-2 doesn't matter, because if you put that mid team against that, you know, elite team in the playoffs, 9 times out of 10, that elite team is going to win, right? Because they're just a better team. So again, the point here is the numbers matter to a degree, but at the end of the day, we cannot look at the numbers like they are the end all be all. This is why we say, I talk about this on my channel all the time. It has to be a convergence of information. You can put the stats together with the tape, with actually going back and watching the game, with actually going back and looking at individual statistics. Let's look at next gen statistics. I saw somebody in the chat just now say, well, you know, fans don't have a lot of time. okay, then maybe you should trust the people like us who are doing the analysis and going through all of the film review and talking to NFL players and like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I'm directly connected to somebody who used to play for the Bills. So when I say what players think and what coaches think, it's not from my own perspective, it's from theirs. That's my goal, is to try to bring that NFL think to the fans so that they understand the other side and how it works. You know what I'm saying? And that's what we're missing here.
Yeah. Well said. Well said. So yeah, once again, Aramis hit the nail on the head, man. Just if you don't have the resources, YouTube's free. And there's a lot of good channels out there, including Post Podium. Even Red, White, and Bills, who breaks down certain, offensive line videos. I don't know if he's doing it this year, but Cover One, there's a lot that you can go and just kind of, and it's all free. YouTube's free. They're going to charge you. So there's always a way to kind of do your own research. Yeah. Is somebody shitting on you, Roy? What's Roy saying here? Funny guy. Trust you. Not a chance in hell. Not a chance in hell. So, you know what's funny? I do want to show this because your partner in crime over there, Mr. 40 Keys.
Oh God!
You're gonna show this real quick. Yeah,
see what he was doing.
So the other day he missed a show for Post Podium, guys, and this guy is constantly ragging on my boy. And I'm going to show you something that I caught on Google. Just so happened. Look at this, guys, standing outside in Buffalo with the "I Love Motor Singletary" shirt on. Or Motor Singletary shirt. I love Motor Singletary. Look at this guy. Wants him back in Buffalo. I don't blame him. Love the guy. But that's what Keys was doing. And that's why he hasn't been available. He's wants Motor back. So deep down, he loves him.
He don't even hang in the projects too. It looks like he's right around the projects downtown.
Yeah, you see the guy hanging out of the cab. He's like, what's that fool doing? So yeah, man. Look at
That's the last time we seen a cab. Holy crap.
Yeah. Well, they're out there still, man. They're out there, and he's holding up traffic. They want to know what this crazy guy's doing, man.
They need to know how much he loves Motor. That's what it is.
Yeah, that's all it's about. So we got about, I don't know, 20 more minutes or so on here. And we'll get to the game and predictions and all that stuff. I do got X factors on offense and defense, which we do with Aramis. We like that, and his hot take of the game. We're going to get to that as well. One more thing I wanted to bring up, and I guess, I saw this article. I kind of want to show you this real quick, and we won't spend too much time on it. But Yahoo had an article up on the Bills receiving room. It's kind of what I've been talking about what's going on with their, let me pause that before I get any kind of stupid copyright. Okay, so here we go. So it starts with, and I'll read this real quick. They are 3-0 for the second consecutive season and have scored 30-plus points in all three games thus far. In spite of that, plenty of members of Bills Mafia are already growing relentless with the offense and its lack of explosive downfield plays. Instead of long bombs, the Bills offense has been death by 1,000 BBs. It says Josh Allen has 0 completions of 20-plus air yards over the last 2 weeks. On the flip side of the coin, Allen leads the NFL in passing yards on quick passes. It says Allen threw just one ball, 20-plus yards downfield, and only one additional pass more than 10 yards downfield against the Dolphins. So what are they saying? Bills receivers struggle to separate. It says Palmer, they got Palmer to be the downfield threat guy. His average separation is 2.3, which is terrible. For reference, the league leader in separation among qualified receivers is Turpin at 5.3. It says Shakir is top 10. He averages 4.3, but that's the slot guy. He's not the perimeter receiver who's getting downfield separation.
So
the
Turpin,
next, correct.
Turpin's
the next, yeah, but they're just saying that So the next closest receiver on the Bills roster is Keon Coleman. He's putting up a mediocre 3.4. Palmer averaged 3.2. A lone reception of 20-plus yards in week 1. So really, they're giving him, it's kind of with that one. Kincaid is averaging 3.5, but again, he's not a perimeter player. However, he's proven to be one of Allen's most reliable targets downfield. So here's my thoughts, and I'm done with that. So here's my thoughts on the receiver room, and it kind of goes back to last year. I feel like we're back at where we were last year in a way with this team, right? So last year we were in the same spot, and I'm glad that the article started off with we're 3-0, scoring 30+ points. If you guys remember last year when we started this whole mentality of everybody eats, it was kind of masked by the record. It was masked by the points we were scoring early on in those 3 games. And even me, I got kind of caught up in the whole, wow, it's working. It must be working. We're 3-0. We're scoring points. But then it was great until it wasn't great. And then when we started losing, we got a couple losses under our belt. And then we really look back and go, oh, wait a minute. It wasn't that great, right? Our leading target guy was Mac Hollins. Wait a minute, hold on. Like, wow, the receivers aren't really making any real plays here. We're kind of just going through the motions and going against maybe bad teams. And we're just kind of, the defensive turnovers are putting us in good field position. And we're getting, these kind of points, because of that. There was a lot to kind of play factor in why we were scoring to 30+ points. James Cook also plays a factor in that as well. That wasn't that guy the year before. So I feel like this year, though we have better receivers in the room, I feel like it's the same as far as we're, here's how I see it. When I watch a Bills game, Aramis, and maybe I'm seeing it wrong, but I this is how I see it. Play call comes in. Allen gets the ball, snaps the ball. He goes through his reads. Usually, he's out of there. He's out of the pocket because every quarterback has a clock in his head. Then it's what? It's scramble drill mode, right? That play call is out the window. It's gone. It's over with. It's backyard football at this point. Who does it best? It's Josh Allen, right? Obviously. But why is he doing that? He's doing that because he's giving the receivers an opportunity to finally create separation. He's buying them more time, right? Okay. That's a problem, right? And I hate seeing it because offenses should never be should not run that way. It shouldn't be your quarterback having to, God, nobody can get open. I got to do what I got to do to create more time. And I get it. Listen, it's going to happen to every quarterback in the NFL, but it seems to happen way more here than anywhere else. I watch teams, guys. I watch receivers get separation, get open for mediocre quarterbacks, right? I don't see it here. When I watch the All-22, when I watch receivers, when he's going through his reads, it's tough, man. Palmer's slow as hell, right? And he's having a tough time to kind of break free early in routes. Keon, I love him, but I don't know if they're using him correctly. I would love to see more slant passes thrown his way. I feel like that's his bread and butter. I really do. If you see his slants, his big body, he kind of shadows the defender, and that's why he picks up yards after catch on those slants. He's just I just love when they do that. They just don't dial it up enough. Elijah Moore, he's our over-the-top speed guy. Last week was finally good to see him get some plays that were meant for a guy with that kind of speed, but we don't do it enough. Yeah. So once again, it could be a combination of both. Could be a combination of Joe Brady just not scheming it up right.
Yeah,
right, and then it also could be a little bit of the players as well. I think it's a combination of a little bit of both. Now, look, we're 3 weeks in, guys, and you're going to go to me, and I know and it's coming. Trust me. We're only 3 weeks in, Tommy. We're scoring 30 game. But guess what? Last year, I just told you guys, I was saying the same thing until I wasn't. And guess who else wasn't? Sean McDermott and Brandon Beam, because what did they do? They went out and got Amari Cooper.
Yep.
And what happened when they picked up Amari Cooper? Not that Amari Cooper was Justin Jefferson or Jamar Chase. However, he still was respected enough where defensive coordinators go, damn, you know what? Now they got a one. We need to kind of game plan for this guy. We can't just, disrespect him like that. And what did that do? That opened it up for all the other guys. And why did Keon Coleman have his best game of the season? Because Amari Cooper was on the field and the defense was going, damn, okay, we gotta really pay attention to this guy. And that's how it works. When you have a one, they draw a little bit more attention, right? And I don't feel right now our receivers get respect at all, any of them, from defense coordinators. I feel like they play us a certain way, and the problem is if they shut our run game down, because it's going to happen, you're going to meet a good run defense, and we rely on our receivers to do the damage. That's where we're going to come back and have the same conversation where you're going to go, fuck, what
Right.
boy, we're having a tough time. Go ahead, Aramis.
Yeah, the issue here is the receivers can be successful if they're in a scheme that gets them open, right? When you have players like Josh Palmer or a Keon Coleman, you have to put them in a system that gives them things like option routes, that, you know, some of the deep crossers that we saw in this offense 3 years ago, or even 2 years ago for that matter. But here's the deal: Sean is running a lot of West Coast style offense for the run game's sake, which is nice. But the issue with the West Coast offense is you have to have receivers like Shakir that can get great separation on the outside, right? Because you're running a lot more shorter. You're running much shorter routes than you normally would in some of the other offenses that are available to you when you're doing West Coast stuff, right? So what does that mean? West Coast offense, slants, whip routes, shallow crossers, you know what I mean? A lot of those types of routes, the 10-yard outs, like that's a lot of West Coast stuff that you see the Bills doing here. Yeah. What we need to see, to be quite honest, is some of the stuff that Dayball was doing initially, where Gabe Bates had option routes, and you can put Coleman in the slot and give him some of those option routes, some of the deep crossers and things like that Josh Palmer ran in LA when he was putting up his best numbers. Because and like, this is what we have to consider. When we saw Josh Palmer make his impact in the Ravens game, that was a deep crosser. Okay, let's keep it real. So when you're looking at what the complication is, they're expecting receivers that are designed for more air raid schemes, more open downfield schemes. They're trying to fit those guys into a West Coast offense where the receivers are expected to block and they're running shorter routes. And it's a contradiction. And that's why you have the complications that you see now. The run game works great. Having Jackson Halls in there and the other two tight ends, it works great. You're usually going to have a lot more separation in the seam and with your slot receivers. But across the board, you cannot, with what we're seeing now, you should not expect the outside receivers to have very much impact at all the rest of the season.
Yeah, and you made a great point. I would love, and they're not going to do it because I don't know, but I would love for them to implement a little bit of Dable's scheme into this offense, because I like the balanced offense, and I know that I get, like, that's what McDermott always wanted here, and there's nothing wrong with that. Like, there's nothing wrong with the balanced offense. It opens up a lot, right? Like, you can, if you have a balanced offense, you can do play action successfully, right? A lot better, right? If you have actually running attack, right? When it's balanced. When it was with Dable, obviously, our offensive line wasn't that great either. He was more air it out, that was his style of play, which was fine, but you have to also have a little bit of mixture of both, because, defenses will eventually get on that as well. So I like that we're balanced, but I also miss some of the stuff that Dable provided, which was more creativity, understanding his players' strengths. I still think Brady really, really struggles at understanding what each player brings to the offense, right? When you got a guy, like I said, in Moore, and I'm not saying Moore is Tyreek Hill, guys, don't kill me on this, but when you got a guy with that kind of speed, you can't teach speed. You either got it or you don't, right? But when you have that kind of guy on your offense, you can do stuff with him. Look at Isaiah McKenzie. Isaiah McKenzie, come on, man. He's on the couch right now, right? But when he was here, he was actually a guy that made plays, at times, because we used him in certain situations, like a pop pass, maybe a deep out. Teams weren't paying attention to him much, or a jet sweep, or, anything that had to do with a guy with his type of speed, right? A screen, a bubble screen pass. Like, it works for him, right? Smaller guy, tough to tackle, slippery, fast, get out in the open field. He's going to get yards after catch. We don't do that enough with guys like Moore, like the one guy. Like, we just don't. Last week, finally, I'm like, okay, but why not? Why don't we do it? And we don't do it enough. I feel like we don't use Coleman enough in the slot. We don't use his big body type frame enough, on certain offensive play calls. So there's things that they need to do or Brady needs to understand that certain players provide something unique to this offense. If you're going to have everybody eat this 2.0, then you need to use it right, and you need to get it, and then also the players need to execute, right? It's a little bit of both. And that's why I said it's not all on Brady. The players have to do their job as well. But I will say this, if it continues to kind of be where Allen is, really playing backyard football half the game, then you have to eventually go, you know what? We could kind of still do it, but we need a one. We have to go out and get an alpha, right? And it doesn't need to be maybe a crazy, I'm not saying go out and pay a whole bunch, but there's going to be a receiver available. I promise you, by trade deadline, there'll be somebody there where it will be worth it. And I hope to God, if we're still having these problems that Bean pulls the trigger, I don't know if he does. He doesn't often do player trades. But you got to at some point understand that, what can this guy provide us to make this team better? You have to start making those decisions. And I feel like we don't do them enough. And I hate when GMs feel like their team's fine or okay, we're going to be all right. Like, why not better the team if you have the opportunity? Even if you are a great team, if it's there, do it. But anyways, let's get to it's 12:42. Let's get to I want to get to Aramis's X factor on offense and defense. I'll do mine, and then we'll do the hot take of the game. So go ahead and give me offense X factor.
All right. My X factor of the game is going to be
oh boy.
It's going to be so it's going to be Connor McGovern. To be quite honest,
McGovern. Okay,
yeah, and this is purely from a schematic standpoint. He's got to make some really good calls today, because that defensive line and the rushes that they're going to see from this defense of the Saints is no joke, right? You're still talking about a Cam Jordan that can still get it done. You're talking about a Granderson that's a young, good up and coming pass rusher. You got Brian Breesy that's playing that 5 technique position, because they run an odd front now, so they're 3-4. He's a very good pass rushing defensive tackle, by the way.
Okay.
So they're gonna get attacked in a bunch of different ways. The inside linebacker Demario Davis, another veteran, good linebacker, good at blitzing, that traditional run stuffing type of linebacker. So the Saints are going to do a lot of different things to try and get pressure on Josh Allen and really squeeze that pocket. I watched an interview of Justin Reed, and they talked about just kind of keeping him in the pocket, forcing him to play quarterback, and things like that teams usually say about Josh. But this is one of the defensive lines that has some of the guys that can do it. So it's gonna be on Connor McGovern a lot to make sure that he's getting the protections called right. It's gonna be the communication between him and Josh has got to be great the whole game. So that's gonna be my X factor. I think it's gonna be protection across the board for the Bills. That determines how well they do in this game. On defense, I think the X factor for sure is going to be the defensive tackles. We have to get pressure up the middle, and Eric McCoy, the center for the Saints, is no joke. They have, I think, at least 3 first-round picks on that offensive line now with the left tackle that they just got. So good, athletic, young talent on that offensive line. This is going to be one of those games that's going to be well fought and hard fought in the trenches. But I think our defensive tackles are going to have to get Rattler off his spot. He is he can still be an accurate quarterback when throwing on the run, but he does not have enough experience in the NFL, in my opinion, to be very productive outside the pocket. I still believe him to be one of those guys that needs to be a rhythm passer. So get him off his spot early and often, and I think that should lead to success.
All right. My co-host Mikey, Mr. Mikey, almost game time. It is, man. We're almost about to wrap this up soon. About 5-10 more minutes, we're done. Yeah, my X factor on offense. Jeez, man. Godly. We never say Josh Allen because he's always an X factor. So that's it's kind of a rule here that we do on Mafia Sports Report. So if you guys are wondering why we never pick him, if you're new to the channel, it's just he's always the X factor. So it's kind of that's an easy out, right? Easy answer. So I'm gonna go with God. I want to say a receiver so bad. I do. It's
Can you though?
All right. That's my problem. And I
you're being too negative, Tommy.
I know, man. I'm gonna say a receiver just because I'm being nice. And God. All right, I'm gonna go with I don't know. Could it be any? Jesus Christ. I'll go Shakir. I think Shakir can have a good game here. On defense, I'll go with I'll go Bernard. I think Bernard can have some impactful plays in this game.
I like it.
And I really wish they would bring some more blitzes in for the linebackers. They never really do. And he gets home a lot when they do. And even Matt Milano does. Like, we just don't do enough of them. We set our safeties in for blitzes a lot. And I get Cole Bishop had one the other day, but I don't like them. I way prefer linebacker blitzes and just showing a little bit more exotic blitzes. But the safeties do that here and there, but I would prefer setting our linebackers a little bit more often, but we just don't do it. But anyways, I'll go Bernard. I think Bernard could possibly have a big play here, possibly even an interception. He tends to get the ball, right? He tends to be around the ball a lot. Yep. So I'll go Bernard here. And what is your hot take of the game?
I think this is going to be a close game.
Damn.
I think this is going to be a close game. I mean, looking at that, they are not run badly. They really are not. I think it's just a matter of the Joes, man, who you have on the field. You know, they've played teams that have better players on their side, but the coaching is going to be there. Like Kellen Moore is a great offensive mind, and you can see it in the way that in the way that the offense is designed. Brandon Staley is doing it again with a defense that does not have a lot of great pieces behind that front seven, right? We're talking about with Justin Reed being quite possibly their second best defensive back behind behind Kool-Aid, who's a young up and coming corner. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's what we're talking about here. So, but again, they've played teams very close. They played the 49ers very close. They played who did I watch them against in week 1? I don't remember.
Well, Seattle whooped them up. I know Seattle, I think.
But again, like I said, that was a special teams thing, right? They got up on special teams, and that might be why Condriton is sitting. If they're going to bring Samuel in, I'm probably going to put my money on he's going to be the special teams ace in this game.
Right.
So that's my hot take. I think it's going to be a close game throughout.
All right. I don't think so, but Cecil saying Hancock is active. So, that's awesome. I hope he gets the time on the field and I believe he will if he's active. And I'm a big fan of him. I think I wish he didn't get hurt, guys. I wish because it would have been really interesting to see what they did with him early in the season. Cali Blitz 31-28 Blitz. Bills Blitz. I said 31-28 Bills win by field goals. Yeah, I don't think so. Alva on crossers, I don't. I think we're going to win by at least 10 to 13 points, guys. But
wow.
I do. We're at home. There's no reason why we shouldn't. We're favored by 16 for a reason. I don't always go by that, but we should be up by at least 10 at half. And I think we'll probably wind up scoring early in the third quarter, getting a decent lead there, maybe giving up a garbage touchdown at the end where it seems closer than maybe what it was. So I'll say 10 to 13 points. It could even wind up being like the Jets game. You know what I mean? Where Tyrod gets a late touch. We gave up a garbage touchdown. So it's like, what was that score? 30-10 or something like that. So it could be something like that. So we'll see. All right, I'm going to play some Real Men of Genius videos, 2 of them, and we're getting out of here so we can watch the game. So let's get to it real quick. I always play these at the end of each thing.
Steve,
so
real quick, Steve Lynn there in the chat.
Steve's in the chat. Where is he? I'm sorry.
Defensive coordinator is definitely better than ours. Brandon Staley was the defensive coordinator for the Rams back in 2020 when they were number one overall. if I'm not mistaken, that's when they went to the Super Bowl. Am I wrong about that? I'm not sure. I got to look that up. But anyway,
that I'm not sure. Yeah,
number one defense with the Rams. Very good, very, very, very good defensive mind. So that's the decent defensive coordinator. I would put Kellen Moore right on par with Brady. Maybe because after seeing Brady up close with what he's doing after being asked to do it differently from Sean McDermott, I think his creativity is up there. So I would say Kellen Moore is slightly worse than Joe Brady.
And real quick, to comment on that, the 30.0 turnovers a game is great production, even if it's not flashy. I'm not asking for flashy. Like, that's the thing that people are getting confused on. I'm not saying the Bills need to be flashy and be, doing all, flea flickers and everything, trick plays all over the field. Like, I'm not saying that. I want better. And there's nothing wrong with wanting better. And I think the team can be better. Like, I think this offense has enough talent. And I'm not saying they're A+ talent. But they have enough talent where they could dial up different play calling and be a little bit more creative. And our 30 points could be 35, 36, which guess what? It could make a difference in a playoffs if you lose 33-30. Instead, we would add 36-33. Just saying, right? So it's always good to want more and be better, right? That's all I'm trying to say, guys. I'm not saying, man, I'm so angry we don't have flashy plays all the time. Like, I'm not saying that. All right. Anyways, back to this, and we're gonna get out of here. Is it Mikey's yelling at you? Oh boy, don't get Mikey mad. Don't get Mikey mad. He's yelled at me multiple times. I don't want to. You do not want to get Mikey. You don't want Mikey mad. All right, here we go.
Bud Light presents Real Men of Genius.
Real Men of Genius.
Today we salute you, Mr. Hair Gel Overgeller.
Mr. Hair Gel Overgeller.
Less ambitious men stop with 2-in-1 shampoo, but you put in countless hours, tireless dedication, and a 5-gallon drum of industrial adhesive.
Sticky goo.
Like a lacquered hedgehog or oily porcupine, what woman wouldn't want to run her fingers through your razor-sharp stalagmites of hair?
Or is it stalactites?
Wind, water, stray bullets, even repeated hammer blows. Nothing can muss your immovable mane.
I got a hair helmet.
So crack open an ice-cold Bud Light, oh master of the moose. And while you're at it, crack open another bucket of goo.
Mr. Hair Gel Overgeller.
Bud Light.
Yeah, I've seen plenty of those fucking idiots. Yeah, one more, then we're out of here, guys. Always give you two. So let's see here. What do I got for you? Play an older one. Probably one I played before. Let's see here. Man, there's some funny ones, man. I like the coach. The coach's one is so funny. Where's that one? So funny. I know I got it somewhere here for you guys. Let's see here.
While you're looking for that, I'll say this to Mikey real quick. Brandon Staley with the 49ers wasn't allowed to play a 3-4. He was forced to play a 4-3. He's an odd front guy, so that's why the defense in San Francisco last year wasn't that great. It's the equivalent of I don't know, asking Dayball to create a great run game, and he's not that guy. It's just not going to be great. That's why it wasn't when he was here. Context. That's all I'm saying.
All right, last one. We're out of here.
Bud Light presents Real Men of Genius.
This one's great.
Real Men of Genius.
So funny.
Today we salute you, Mr. Losing Locker Room Reporter.
Mr. Losing Locker Room Reporter.
Wherever a semi-naked man is crying like a schoolgirl because he lost a ball game, you are there. Why did they lose? Because some millionaire dropped the ball. A millionaire who needs a mic stuck in his face on national television. Go ahead, wear your cashmere blazer to work. No one's going to pour champagne on it where you're going. So crack open an ice-cold Bud Light, oh bringer of bad news. You're not a big loser. You just interview them.
Don't wanna talk about it.
Bud Light.
A millionaire who can't catch a ball.
It's so right.
Dude, it's so funny. Anyways, guys, we're out of here. Bills Mafia. I'll be back at halftime to do the quick 10-minute halftime report. And then obviously me and Mikey will be here post-game right after the game. We appreciate you, Aramis. You know where to find Aramis, Post-Podium Podcast, every Monday and Friday. And then obviously they're doing some more stuff. So go over there, subscribe, hit the notification bell. This way you know when they're live. So Bills Mafia, we love you. And as always, go Bills. We're out of here. Peace.
Bills.
Yeah, go Bills.
Bye-bye.
See, Peter, he's too fast.
You gotta tackle me. It's B. You gotta press B.
I'm pressing B. He's too fast.
Going over here? Going over here now? Never get tired.